Tonight, South Australia prepares to end its lockdown, but a number of restrictions will remain. And Broken Hill continues to feel the impact of the Sydney COVID outbreak.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. South Australia is a step closer to exiting lockdown, with only one new case reported overnight. The Premier is optimistic the state is on track, but some restrictions will remain in place for at least another week.
A path out of lockdown. The Premier confirming the state is on track to lift restrictions 1 minute past midnight on early Wednesday morning. Only one new case recorded, an 87-year-old man linked to the Modbury cluster. Stephen Marshall grateful for the compliance and the hard work taken by all sectors of the community.
Working together, we've been able to demonstrate that we can get through this very difficult situation, a situation that's confounding many other parts of the world, many other parts of our nation.
However, it won't be an immediate return to normality, with the government preferring a gradual rollback of the lockdown over the coming weeks. A density of 1 person per 4 square metres now implemented. Masks still required for those in high-risk areas.
It is a very tricky virus, and this is why when we come out of lockdown, we all have to remain very observant, very cautious.
Other restrictions in place include seated consumption of food and beverages indoors and outdoors, a remaining ban on singing and shisha, household gatherings limited to 10 people, and weddings and funerals limited to 50 people. Schools in the region will also resume classroom learning on Wednesday. The Premier defending the decision to include regional South Australia as part of the lockdown.
We did definitely consider whether or not we could have a differential arrangement, but ultimately it was decided that the safest way for us to get through this 7-day lockdown was to have it for the entire state.
A reminder for all residents in the Spencer Gulf, we're not out of the danger zone. Mark Zeta, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Today marks 1 month since COVID restrictions were reintroduced in Broken Hill. And while the city hasn't had any cases, the impact remains. Events have been postponed and borders are still tight, but the community's spirit remains strong.
Daily case numbers still climbing as tensions boil over. The ripple effect of Sydney's COVID chaos continues to be felt in Broken Hill.
Everybody's reacting well to the restrictions of wearing masks. Unlike Sydney, it's very good. I'm very proud of my community for that.
The Stilettos shelved as one of our biggest events is postponed again. The Broken Hill Festival pushed back until December 2nd.
You know, no one wants to be the first person to bring COVID into that city. You know, I think you'd be really detrimental to business ongoing.
Local government elections also delayed until December. Our mayor says there's no reason that should be the case and regional areas should go ahead as planned.
Disappointing for the sitting councillors, disappointing for the candidates that were looking forward to representing their communities, and certainly disappointing for the community.
It'll mean councillors will have been in their roles 15 months longer than anticipated.
Some of those councillors had made a decision not to run again, but yet they have to stay. So it's very disappointing for everyone.
The border bubble changes continue too. We're now only allowed 5 kilometres into Victoria for goods and services, but can still travel further for healthcare. But it's not all bad news. Nikita, Jack and Aaron, the South Australian family who were stuck in Broken Hill, have now been allowed to return home, where they'll complete 14 days quarantine.
Oh my God, so excited.
While many others are still waiting for their SA Health exemptions, Broken Hill's spirit has left its mark on the family, who hope to return to the city under better circumstances. Lachlan Itter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
With the census taking place next month, police are reminding residents about the presence of ABS staff who are considered essential workers. There will be no face-to-face contact this year, with census information delivered to letterboxes. Police say staff will wear a mask whenever they're outdoors, if unable to maintain physical distance. Census night is on August 10. Supermarket suppliers across the Spencer Gulf have been given extra security, with new legislation allowing supply trucks to keep running. It means supermarkets can be stocked 24/7, with truck curfews now lifted.
Ensuring everyone in the Spencer Gulf has enough of what they need. Supply trucks to supermarkets now able to deliver to stores 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Curfews now lifted thanks to emergency legislation passed last Friday.
We've needed to accommodate them being able to deliver outside of curfew because of the huge demand that happens with the lockdown.
The changes were made in consultation with the Australian Logistics Council, which represents the supply truck industry. The Attorney-General assuring Spencer Gulf residents they don't need to stress about groceries.
So it is critical that we obviously try and minimise the stress for everybody and make sure that we get food and supplies as quickly as possible to those who need them.
And it's very much, I guess, a focus of our members in ensuring that every Australian can have the goods and commodities that they need, particularly when we are experiencing vulnerabilities in the communities.
In a statement, Woolworths welcomed the extended flexibility with truck delivery curfews, saying the changes will help their efforts to restock shelves. Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, our region's tourism operators count the cost of an empty weekend, and South Australia's mining industry continues through the lockdown. Welcome back. Local tourism operators on the Eyre Peninsula have been hit hard with the latest lockdown, with many forced to cancel a full week of bookings. They're concerned consumer confidence has taken a hit.
The tourism sector forced to a grinding halt, frustration continuing to grow amongst local operators.
Continuing frustration, to be honest, and we know we're out there trying to do the right thing and it's for the better of the community.
The industry being hit harder than most, with local companies forced to refund thousands of dollars worth of cancellations.
We had really good numbers on board and then all of a sudden you're having to refund that money back to customers.
The continuous fear of potential lockdowns hurting the sector.
That's the big impact is that dent in that consumer confidence.
The Port Lincoln Tourist Park receiving over 70 cancellations for the week. However, some chose to wait it out on the beachfront site.
A big hit. We do still have some people here, probably at least 30 vans here that did the lockdown here.
Calypso Star Charters cancelled 4 shark and 2 sea lion tours. The COVID pandemic proving difficult.
Yeah, the last 18 months have been tough. Sometimes we think that we're going okay, but then things like this happen and takes us back to, April last year sort of thing.
Unlike the hospitality industry, tourist operators cannot alter their services.
We don't have the opportunity of having a takeout menu or an online tour. Like, we have no other options.
Dylan Smith, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
There's no doubt our region's retailers have done it tough during the state's third lockdown, but now there is a glimmer of hope. Businesses thanking the community for their support, also encouraging them to continue shopping local.
Businesses feeling the pinch, now hoping for some relief, with the state's lockdown lifting at midnight on Wednesday.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is what it is. We just have to deal with it, every single one of us.
It's been a tough 7 days, with non-essential retail and hospitality hit hard. The Port Pirie Mayor is proud of the community's level of compliance, but as a business owner himself, he says it hasn't been smooth sailing.
A lot of businesses probably won't be buying a lot of stuff from their wholesalers and perhaps trying to jettison some of the stock that they have got.
While compensation is available, some say it's just not enough.
It's a long way short of where the loss that these guys have incurred. Some of the businesses, including ours, have been shut the whole time. So yeah, it's massive. So and we won't see that back for some time.
The member for Grey, Rowan Ramsey, says while he understands how difficult the lockdown has been, it's a preventative measure set to help businesses remain stable.
It's not fair, and we understand all that, but neither is it possible for the government to completely replace every bit of income that might be disrupted by COVID, because at the end of the day, that money still comes from the same people, comes from the taxpayers.
The community encouraged to buy local.
Can't thank the locals enough. Throughout the last 18 months it's been now or more. They've been absolutely fantastic. Shopping local has certainly now resonated with all of the local people. So I hope that continues, I really do.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australia's mining operations are continuing throughout the coronavirus lockdown. A key component of the state economy, mining is exempt from the regulations, forcing other industry sectors to stop work.
Keeping calm and carrying on. South Australia's mining and smelting operations were one of the few industries relatively unaffected by the state's snap 7-day lockdown. The resources sector implementing strict COVID-19 management plans, including halting non-essential activities and limiting the number of people on site.
The resources sector is the powerhouse of the state's economy, and we continue to meet the challenges of COVID-19 to protect workers, families and communities.
The resources sector implementing strict COVID-19 management plans, including halting non-essential activities and limiting the number of people on site.
The sector was really well prepared for another lockdown, having learned lessons from the lockdown back in November 2020, and continue to work collaboratively with SA Health and SAPOL.
Potential damage to equipment and time needed to restart operations also a factor.
And if you think about the processing plants on mines or even the Whyalla Steelworks, it takes days and weeks to shut down some of their plant and equipment without doing it long-term damage.
With the lockdown this time around also halting industries such as construction, the Minister says mining was exempt due to its workplace standards.
People working on construction sites are coming and going from home, whereas most mine sites, they're coming and going on a 7-day or a 2-week basis, and when they're at work, they stay at work.
Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Lincoln residents are encouraged to support Second Bite. The food rescue organisation provides rescued surplus and unsold edible food that would otherwise be thrown into landfill. They then distribute the produce to local charities, including Port Lincoln Community House, which is then given out to those in need. Coles is encouraging locals to support Second Bite by purchasing a $2 donation card at the supermarket. Stay with us, we have the rest of the day's news, as a local jobs market prepares to set up in the region. And we will have all the action from Broken Hill Footy. The federal government's local jobs program has now expanded across the region, including the Mid-North. It's hoped the initiative will help get people back into the workforce as part of Australia's recovery from COVID-19.
It's the program connecting employers to potential employees.
It's definitely really important at the moment. More than ever, I suppose, we really need that pipeline of people coming through for the jobs in the region.
The local jobs program now expanding to all 51 employment regions across Australia. Port Pirie, the Mid-North, Yorke Peninsula, Clare, Barossa and the Adelaide Plains now set to benefit.
It's empowering local communities to support employment and employment recovery in their own communities. So we have an injection of some resources coming in. So in terms of my role as the employment facilitator, but we also have a local recovery fund to support job seekers into work.
The expansion is part of a $276 million Australian government initiative. Now extended to June 2025, the member for Grey says it's a key part of their strategy to lower unemployment rates and kickstart the economy.
And this is a program specifically aimed at getting people back to work after COVID.
Nominations are also now open for the local Jobs and Skills Task Force.
For people in the community that are quite passionate about local jobs and supporting employment recovery. So we're really encouraging people that want to be involved and want to contribute to the ideas and the solutions to put in a nomination to be part of that task force.
Katrina Musson, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
South Australia is in the middle of a housing boom, with residential construction projects at a 36-year high. New CommSec figures show activity is 7% higher than a year ago. South Australia joining Western Australia, the ACT and New South Wales in recording a rise in the March quarter. But the news isn't as good for South Australia's population growth, which is still lagging behind the rest of the country. It rose by just 0.53%, the slowest in 16 years. 2 new mobile phone towers will soon be built in the far west. Telstra will operate the new base stations to be installed at Little Taupo and the Barrier Highway, the funding part of the federal government's mobile black spot program.
In the far west, I'm sure the people that use that highway, and there's quite a few, will be very pleased that those gaps have been filled in.
Mark Colton says the latest round of funding prioritises coverage gaps along rural highways. The new sites are expected to be up and running by mid-next year. It was a quiet weekend at local footy grounds, with most games cancelled due to the lockdown. Play did go ahead in Broken Hill, with a fiercely fought competition and special milestones for North. Lachlan Etta has the weekend wrap.
North and West left nothing in the tank in what will likely go down as the game of the season. There was a special return for North's old-timers weekend. Dean Solomon once again donning the Bulldogs Guernsey for his final game.
It was amazing to be back out, and especially in these colours, it means a lot to me and my family.
It was a tight contest from the get-go. Scores level at 1 point by quarter time. The Bulldogs losing 2 to injury. Leading to one of many scuffles. North opened their account 5 minutes into the second quarter, West replying minutes later. That laid the groundwork for a close game. North just 1 point ahead at three-quarter time. It was a free kick that ultimately sealed victory. Just 8 points the difference at the final siren, North claiming a hard-earned victory 32-26. Matt Garrick and Matt Dempster clocking up 200 games in an emotional win. Across town in a top v bottom clash, Central were leading South in the first quarter, but once again they couldn't keep up in the back half of the game. The Roos almost toying with them at times. Opening up a final margin of more than 100 points and keeping South firmly atop the ladder. Details on the return of sport in South Australia will be confirmed tomorrow.
Stay with us after the break. Voting for South Australia's Food and Beverage Awards now open. And we'll have the weather details with Alex Sykes. Hello again. Voting is now open for the 2021 South Australian Food and Beverage Awards. The awards program recognises outstanding achievement by local businesses. Organisers reporting a 50% increase in entries this year as the state recovers from the coronavirus pandemic. Voting will be open until Monday the 20th of September, with the winner announced on the 12th of November. Details on how to vote can be found on the Food South Australia website. Time now to take a look at what's happening in the weather. Here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John, and good evening, everyone. We finally had a break from those wet conditions we saw last week, a mainly fine day across the region. From 3 p.m. today, sunny for Port Augusta, a max of 20 degrees. It was sunny in Port Pirie and 18, and it was mostly sunny for Clare, 14 degrees. Looking further out across the region now, while it was sunny and 20, it was partly cloudy for Port Lincoln, 18, sunny for Broken Hill and Woodner, both sunny and 18, Kadina and Cleve, both mostly sunny and 17, while it was sunny and 20, Cooper Pedy was 23 and Adelaide reached 16 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, clouds scattering across southeast South Australia with a trough, bringing some clearing showers, mostly clear elsewhere in drier winds. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northwesterly winds 15 to 20 knots, reaching 20 to 25 knots. Seas 1 to 2 metres, decreasing to 1.5 metres, and south to southwesterly swell between 1.5 and 2.5 metres. Wet conditions return returning in most parts tomorrow. Port Lincoln will have showers developing at 19. Cleve also showers developing and windy, 21 degrees. Similar conditions for Woodner and set to reach 22 degrees there. Whyalla and Port Augusta will both have showers and be windy, both 24, and there'll be similar conditions for Kadina at 19. Port Pirie showers developing 22. Clare set to reach a high of 19 degrees, and Broken Hill will be sunny and 20 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, Cooper Pedy, Broken Hill and Whyalla all partly cloudy. Showers across the rest of the region. Temperatures in the high teens to low 20s. Thursday will see some relief from the rain, clear conditions across the region, partly cloudy for Cooper Pedy and Port Lincoln, sunny across the rest of the Gulf, temperatures again in the high teens and low 20s. And the rain will return for some parts on Friday, sunny for Cooper Pedy, rain for Kadina, Port Lincoln and Adelaide, showers across the rest of the region, warmer conditions however, with temperatures set to be in the low to mid 20s. So John, the second half of the week is looking to be even better, which will be good news if it is safe for us to exit lockdown. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Monday evening. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates during sunrise tomorrow, and we will be back also at 7 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening and the Olympics. Good night.